Dear friends, in this video we'll see what are the postulates of quantum mechanics. Okay, there are, of course, we'll discuss only three most important and relevant postulates. Okay, right? There are some other also, but we'll see them as we go into those situations. Okay, presently, the first most important postulate is the base psi every physical system. Okay, every physical system has has a wave function psi of x comma t associated with it. Okay, the first important postulate, or these postulates are a hypothesis actually. Okay, people do not know. See, quantum mechanics is was in a stage of development. Okay, slowly people are developing the ideas in quantum mechanics, so they have come out with some postulates. Okay, they are not laws like Newton's laws of motion or anything like that. Okay, but of course, till now there is no doubt about these postulates anywhere. Okay, right? The first postulate says what every physical system is associated with a wave function psi with it. Means every physical system we are interested in, whatever it may be, right? Will have some wave function psi with it. That psi contains entire information about the system. Okay, that psi contains entire information about the system. Entire information about the system of the system. Okay, that is, you want to know anything about the system, you have to have psi with you. Okay, whatever the system, unless you have the system's wave function with you, quantum mechanics cannot speak. Okay, so the most important aspect in quantum mechanics is, okay, you have to find out the wave function of that particular system. How do you find the wave function of the system? Apply Schrodinger wave equation to it, time dependent equation or time independent equation, depending on the situation, whether the situation is depending on time or independent of time. Okay, suitable equation you apply. Okay, solve Schrodinger wave equation, you will get one psi value. Then quantum mechanics says that psi contains entire information about the system. Okay, excepting spin of the particles. Later on we can add that. Okay, that's another aspect. Psi contains entire information about the system. That information may be definite information or statistical. Okay, psi contains entire information. That information may be definite one or statistical information. Okay, right? Now we'll get it out. So what do you understand from this? Okay, right? Quantum mechanics talks about any system only when you get psi. So what are we supposed to do? Right? We are supposed to get the psi value. How do you get psi value? Apply Schrodinger wave equation, solve it. Okay, do whatever you want. Okay, to get the solution psi. Okay, sometimes you have to take some different way. Okay, different way of approach. Right, but still, unless you get psi, quantum mechanics will not talk anything about it. Okay, so the most important thing in quantum mechanics is try to get psi value for any system. That one psi will contain entire information. Okay, in order to get psi value, you make any postulates, you make any modifications, or you take anything. Okay, which may not look what you call logical according to classical physics point of view. That like in chronic penny model we do. Okay, chronic penny model, unless I take that barrier strength is finite, okay, I will not get the solution at all. Unless I guess there is one equality will come, that equation, P sin alpha A plus cos alpha equal to cos K. Okay, RHS is limited between plus or minus 1 values, whereas LHS can be 5 to minus 10 also. Okay, and there is one equal to sign in between. LHS must be equal to RHS always, but LHS values can have any value they like, whereas RHS is limited between plus or minus 1 only. Okay, unless that condition is satisfied, solutions to the Schrodinger equation do not exist. Okay, like this, such problems come. So whatever it is, okay, whatever assumption you want to make, whatever modifications you want to make, you do that. Try to get psi value. Okay. Now our question is how the single wave function contains entire information about the system means, right? The answer comes in second postulate. Okay. Right. Second postulate says what? Every classical dynamical variable, okay, every classical dynamical variable will be associated with a operator, Hermitian operator with it. Okay, right? Every classical dynamical variables means what? Like just like our position, potential energy, kinetic energy, linear momentum, angular momentum, total energy, etc. All these are classical dynamical variables. Okay, every classical dynamical variable in quantum mechanics is associated with an operator. That operator is also a Hermitian operator. Okay, right? So second postulate says what? Every classical dynamical variable every classical, okay, dynamical, every classical dynamical variable like right kinetic energy or linear momentum, okay, or angular momentum, whatever it is, okay, or position, velocity, everything, okay, is associated with, right, is, will have, or is have, will, is associated with an operator, mathematical operator. What type of operator is this? Hermitian operator. We'll see what are Hermitian operators in another video. Okay, Hermitian operator, right? So in classical physics we have formulae. Okay, what is kinetic energy? We say p square by 2m or half mv square. What is what you call linear momentum? Mass into velocity. What is angular momentum? R bar cross P bar or mvr in scalar magnitude form. Okay, like this we have some formulae. Whereas in quantum mechanics, instead of formulae, right, we have some operators. Okay, example, the operator for linear momentum. Okay, linear momentum is like this. Linear momentum is usually denoted by P. Okay, when I'm talking about linear momentum, I'll write P. When I'm talking about its operator, I'll put one cap about P cap. Means it is not linear momentum, it is operator for linear momentum. Okay, P caret or P cap, whatever it is. Okay, right? So P cap is operator. Remember, A is a dynamical variable. A cap is the corresponding what you call quantum mechanical operator of that dynamical variable. Okay. So P cap is linear momentum operator minus I h bar dou by dou x, right? In one dimension. In three dimensions, it is minus I h bar del. Okay. Similarly, right, the kinetic energy operator K cap equal to, right, minus h bar square by 2m, right, dou square by dou x square. Or in three dimensions, it is minus h bar square by 2m del square. Del square equal to dou square by dou x square, dou square by dou y square, but dou square by dou z square is known as three-dimensional space operator called a Laplacian operator. Okay, right? In three dimensions, we write it as minus h bar square by 2m del square. So linear momentum is having one operator, kinetic energy is having one operator, what you call potential energy, position, velocity, total energy, everything will have angular momentum, etc. All these what you call physically observable or measurable properties of system are having some operators associated with them. Okay, that is second postulate. Okay. Now you may get it out. Where from do we get these operators? Okay, operators also what? See, fundamental aspect of quantum mechanics is what? Schrodinger wave equation only. Okay, right? The step before Schrodinger wave equation, if you see, is nothing but classical physics. Okay, from classical physics only, suddenly Schrodinger wave equation emerges. So, what is the fundamental aspect of quantum mechanics? Schrodinger wave equation itself is the fundamental principle. Remember, okay, right? In classical physics, we have Newton's laws of motion. In what you call Kepler's laws of motion, like that. We don't have a laws here in quantum mechanics. Okay, what is fundamental aspects are also not there. What is fundamental principle? Schrodinger wave equation itself is the fundamental principle. Whatever you want to ask about quantum mechanics, you have to ask Schrodinger wave equation. Whatever you want to get in quantum mechanics, you must get from Schrodinger wave equation, like that. Okay, right? So these operators also will be coming from Schrodinger wave equation only. That we'll see now. How I get linear momentum operator like this, kinetic energy operator like this. Okay, in a simple manner, we'll try to understand. Okay, right? This is second postulate. Now we have wave function psi, which contains entire information about the system. And for every what you call thing we want to find out. See, in physics, I want to know, I know everything about the system. Is what do I know? I'll be knowing its mass, I'll be knowing its position, I'll be knowing its velocity. I want to find out its potential energy, kinetic energy, linear momentum, angular momentum. These are the things we are so interested to know in physics, isn't it? So every parameter is having one operator. Now, how will I get complete information about system? First postulate said, one psi contains entire information. How one psi is containing entire information about system is, now somebody will give me psi of a system. Okay. One of my students will come and ask, sir, what is the linear momentum of that system? Okay, what is the linear momentum of that system is, I'll say, I have one operator with it. Okay, minus I h bar dou by dou x. I'll operate the operator for linear momentum P cap on the wave function. When will an operator gets any meaning? When the operator gets meaning only when it's operated on some function, isn't it? Otherwise, the operators have no meaning. Okay, simplify z d by dx. What does it mean? Nothing, isn't it? Okay, simplify say d by dx. It is nothing. Simply if I write like this, what does that mean? Nobody knows what is that. Okay, right? If I say integral sin x or d by dx of sin x, then if a fellow knowing mathematics will say cos x or minus cos x or whatever it is. Okay, so an operator is there to be operated on some function. So when this linear momentum is operated on the wave function side, I'll get the linear momentum value of that. Some other students comes and asks, what is the kinetic energy of that system? Now I'll take the psi is same. Okay, I'll operate this kinetic energy operator k cap on that psi value. Then I'll get kinetic energy. Like that, whatever you ask me, for every parameter I have an operator. Okay, and for the complete system I have one wave function psi. So simply whatever you want, you operate this operator on that wave function psi, you will get that system's kinetic energy or that system's potential energy, like that. Okay, right? So second postulate says every classical dynamical variable is associated with a Hermitian operator with it. Hermitian operators means operators whose eigenvalues are real, which give me real values of kinetic energy, potential should be real, isn't it? Okay, right? Now that is the second postulate. Okay, third postulate is what? How to operate this operator on that wave function. How to operate this operator on the wave function. That is given by the third postulate. Okay. Third postulate says what? Third postulate says what? Okay. The expectation value. Okay. The expectation value means average value. Remember, expectation value, average value, most probable value. We'll talk about these three parameters. Okay. Expectation value means average value of that parameter. Okay, most probable value slightly different. Okay, the value which comes most of the times, okay, or whose probability is maximum, that is most probable value. Okay, most probable value may be equal to average value sometimes, but it's different. Okay, so, but expectation value means, remember, it is average value of that parameter. Okay, the expectation value of a variable is obtained like this. How? Take something, okay, some function f, its expectation value is denoted by these brackets, angular brackets, okay, is equal to integral, right, a to b, whatever is the domain of the system. Okay, you take those limits. If they are minus infinity to infinity, take that. If they are from say x equal to 0 to L, you take 0 and L, or a to b, like that. Okay, so right, integral psi star, right, every psi will have one complex conjugate psi star. When you multiply psi with its complex conjugate psi star, you get probability density. That's what we have seen, isn't it? So psi star of x comma t. Okay, or if it is a time independent case, we won't have this t. We will remove this t factor. The psi of x, right? Psi star of x. Okay. Now FOP of psi dx. I'm writing for one dimensional case by integral a to b, right? Psi star of x into psi of x dx. Here also psi is a function of x. Okay, I'm taking time independent part of the wave function. Okay, so this is how we will get the operators. We will get the expectation value or average value of the parameter. Okay, whatever may be that parameter, I'm taking it as. Now, what is this FOP? FOP is the operator corresponding to this parameter. Okay, if your parameter is linear momentum, you will put linear momentum operator. Okay, so what is the linear momentum operator we have seen just now? Minus I h bar dou by x. So if somebody asks me what is the linear momentum of a system, okay, so first I'll ask him what is its wave function. He will give me that wave function. I'll take that wave function, and because he's asking me about the linear momentum, what do? I'll operate the linear momentum operator on the wave function like this. Okay, now I'll put expectation value of linear momentum, x component of linear momentum, px caps is equal to, right, integral a to b, right, psi of x. Okay, psi of x, FOP, right? FOP means what? Operate for linear momentum. What is operate for linear momentum? Px cap minus I h bar dou by dou x. So I'll write minus I h bar dou by dou x. Okay, dou by dou x of, this is the linear momentum operator of psi of x dx by integral a to b, right, psi star of x, psi of x dx. Okay, this is how I'll find out the linear momentum, okay, of that system. What is minus I h bar is a constant, so we can write it out. So it is simply minus I h bar integral a to b, right, psi of x into dou by dou x of psi of x, that is dou psi of x by dou x into dx by. Now look at this one. Integral a to b psi star psi d is nothing but mod psi square. Okay, if the wave function is a normalized wave function, what do we know? Integral, whatever the limits, right? Mod psi square dx will always be equal to 1 provided the wave function is normalized wave function. Okay, so that advantage here. If I normalize this wave function, or if the wave function given to me is a normalized wave function, right? I need not write this denominator. Why? This denominator will anyway will be equal to 1, isn't it? So for a normalized wave function, we will not have any denominator here. We'll simply write, right, the expectation value of linear momentum, okay, is px equal to this much. If it is not a normalized wave function, better normalize it first. Okay, and you can eliminate this denominator. So px equal to minus I h bar integral whatever it is psi star of x to dou psi by dou x. Means you differentiate that wave function, whatever you get with respect to x once, then multiply it with its complex conjugate, then integrate it. You'll get expectation value of linear momentum. That's how we'll be proceeding. Okay, right? This is how these are the three first important postulates. First one is every system will have one psi. The psi contains entire information. Second one, how do I get psi? From a single wave function. So from a single function, how do I get entire information of the system? Means whatever you are interested in physics, right, is associated with some operators. Okay, where from those operators come? Those operators also come from Schrodinger wave equation only. Okay, right? So everything, right, anything should come from Schrodinger wave equation only, right? So now what happens? I'll operate this operator on that wave function, so I'll get that parameter. Now, third postulate says what? How to operate this operator on the wave function. Okay, that is the third postulate. Okay, now we'll briefly see how I'll get operators. I'll get operators in quantum mechanics. Okay, we have Schrodinger wave equation is I as I h bar dou psi by dou t equal to minus h bar square by 2m, right? Dou square psi by dou x square plus v psi. This is Schrodinger wave equation. The step before this equation is nothing but, right, total energy E psi equal to, according to classical physics, total energy equal to P square by 2m plus VV, right? Okay, I'm operating psi. I'm introducing psi on all sides. Okay, so E psi equal to P square psi by 2m plus V psi. From this, we will substitute E psi value and P square psi value by solving the primary equation. We will get Schrodinger wave equation. Now look at these two equations, compare. Okay. What is E here? Total energy of the system. Okay, that psi is common in both the equations. So whatever is the role played by total energy, right, in Schrodinger wave equation or in quantum mechanics, we are not having E. We have something like I h bar dou by dou t. What is I h bar dou by dou t? Dou by dou t is an operator, mathematical operator. Okay, means the role played by total energy in classical physics is taken over by an operator in quantum mechanics. Okay. Means I h bar dou by dou t is a mathematical operator which is playing the same role as total energy in classical physics. Similarly, right, for potential energy we have V here, mghr, q1, q2 r square, whatever it is, same thing, whatever formula we have in classical physics. Right, in quantum mechanics also the operator is same for potential energy, for position also x, operator for x is also x only. Okay. Right, now for p square psi by 2m and 2m are common here. So instead of p square psi, what do we have? For p square we have minus h bar square dou square by dou x square. Minus h bar square dou square by dou x square. This is nothing but p square. So what is kinetic energy operator? Right, kinetic energy operator is p square by 2m formula. For p square we have minus h bar square by 2m, right, dou square by dou x square. This becomes the operator for kinetic energy. Okay, similarly, right, for instead of p square we have minus h bar square dou square dou square. Its square root will give me linear momentum operator. Linear momentum operator p cap equal to, right, minus I h bar dou by dou x. Right, you try to square this and see whether you are getting p square minus h bar square dou square by dou x square or not. Okay, right, minus of minus is minus into minus is 1. I square is minus h bar square dou square by dou x square. Means if you square this, right, px square. Okay, px square, right, is nothing but I square is minus 1. Okay, minus 1 whole square is plus I square is minus h bar square dou square by dou x square. Okay, so this is how I'll be getting linear momentum operator. Okay, this is how I'll be getting kinetic energy operator. Okay, this is our potential energy operator is same as in classical physics. Okay, total energy means we have I h bar dou by dou t as time dependent operator for total energy, and I can take this kinetic energy operator plus potential energy operator. That is, for total energy we have one more operator also. We can represent it in what you call time independent part of Schrodinger wave. Time independent part of total energy is minus h bar square by 2m, okay, dou square by dou x square plus v. This is the operator of psi is equal to E psi phi. Okay, this is also playing the same role as total energy only because kinetic energy operator, potential energy operator. Okay, right? Now put together this called what you call Hamiltonian operator H cap of psi equal to E psi. Right? This is how we can represent Schrodinger equation in another form where H cap is the Hamiltonian operator, total energy operator in quantum mechanics. Okay, like this, all operators come from Schrodinger equation. Of course, we mathematically we say, right, quantum mechanical operators are obtained by the corresponding Poisson brackets of the corresponding variables times IH bar. Okay, that is mathematically we define what you call how do we get different types of operators. Okay, operators are first we will take the Poisson bracket of the corresponding dynamical variables, multiply it with IH bar. We are getting the corresponding what you call quantum mechanical operators. Okay, we can understand it this way also simply. Okay, so these are the important postulates in quantum mechanics. Okay, we will see about next topic in the next video. Thank you.